In the meticulously groomed streets of Crestview Estates, where every lawn was a uniform green and mailboxes stood in perfect alignment, Karen Hensley reigned as the HOA president with an unrelenting grip. A 58-year-old former real estate agent with a penchant for pearl necklaces and a clipboard, Karen enforced the HOA's rules with a zeal that bordered on obsession, issuing fines for everything from unapproved garden gnomes to slightly faded house paint. For Ethan Caldwell, a 44-year-old retired Army veteran and mechanic, her tyranny was a daily irritation, but he never expected it to escalate into a battle of wits involving a literal tank. Ethan lived in a tidy ranch-style home with his wife, Sarah, and their teenage son, Jack. His pride was his 1970 Chevy Camaro, a fixer-upper he'd been restoring in his garage. The car, parked in his driveway, had a small dent from a rogue baseball Jack's doing during a game with friends. Ethan planned to fix it, but the dent was minor, barely noticeable. Karen, however, spotted it during one of her golf cart patrols and slapped a $200 fine on Ethan's door, citing an HOA rule against vehicle disrepair that threatened property values. Ethan checked the bylaws. No such rule existed. He confronted Karen, showing her the county-approved driveway permit, but she dismissed him, saying, "Dents make Crestview look trashy." Ethan, who'd faced worse than Karen in his 20 years as an Army mechanic, decided to play her game. He'd kept connections from his military days, including access to a decommissioned M113 armored personnel carrier, a 13-ton tank-like vehicle, through a friend who ran a military surplus museum. Ethan had borrowed it once for a veterans parade, and an idea sparked. If Karen wanted to nitpick his Camaro, he'd give her something she couldn't fine or move. He called his friend, who agreed to deliver the M113 for a temporary display in Ethan's driveway, fully permitted as a historical exhibit under county law. On a sunny October morning in 2025, Ethan parked the M113 in his driveway, its olive drab bulk dwarfing the Camaro and blocking Karen's view of her pristine lawn from her colonial-style home across the street. The tank, though decommissioned, was imposing, with tracks that could crush asphalt and a turret that swiveled menacingly. Ethan posted a sign on it, "Veterans Historical Display, County Approved." Neighbors gawked, kids snapped photos, and Jack, grinning, called it the coolest thing ever. Karen, predictably, lost it. She screeched into the cul-de-sac in her golf cart, waving her clipboard. "This is an outrage," she shouted. "Remove that eyesore now or I'll have it towed." Ethan, leaning against the M113 with a coffee mug, held up his permit. "Good luck towing 13 tons, Karen. It's legal." She called the county tow service, but they refused, citing the vehicle's weight and Ethan's paperwork. Undeterred, Karen dialed 911, claiming Ethan was harassing the neighborhood with a military weapon. 2 deputies arrived, and Ethan showed them the permit, his veteran ID, and the museum's loan agreement. His security camera footage, installed after Karen's last fine, caught her slapping another $500 fine on the tank for obstructing aesthetics. Deputy Carter, suppressing a laugh, told Karen, "Ma'am, you can't fine a legal display, and calling 911 for this? That's misuse of emergency services." The neighborhood's social media group erupted when Ethan posted the footage, captioned, "HOA Karen find my dent, so I parked a tank." The post went viral, amplified by a thread on a site like X titled, "HOA Karen vs. Veterans Tank, Epic Showdown." Comments flooded in, "She tried to find a tank?" and "Karen's no match for 13 tons. Neighbors shared their own Karen stories. Her finding a family for a kiddie pool. Her demanding a retiree remove a flagpole. A petition to oust her as president gained 90 signatures in a day. At the next HOA meeting, held in the community center, Ethan presented his evidence. The permit, the bylaws, which didn't mention vehicle appearance, and the footage of Karen's tantrum. Karen, red-faced, claimed the tank was a safety hazard, and she was protecting the community. The board, tired of her overreach, voted 6-1 to remove her. Ethan filed a small claims suit for $1,000 to cover the baseless fines and legal fees, which Karen settled out of court. She sold her home a month later, moving to a condo in town, her clipboard abandoned. The M113 stayed for a week, drawing crowds who left notes of thanks for Ethan's service. He returned it to the museum, fixed the Camaro's dent, and installed a veteran parking-only sign in his driveway, approved by the new HOA president, a retired teacher who scrapped Karen's rules. Crestview Estates felt alive again, with neighbors hosting barbecues and kids playing freely, no longer under Karen's watchful glare. Ethan, polishing his Camaro, smiled as Jack tossed a baseball, knowing he'd won the battle with a 13-ton checkmate.